Hey there, I'm Sandy Reese, Chief Encouragement Officer here at Get Fully Funded, where we help small nonprofits learn how to raise the money they need to fully fund their mission. I'm here to help you learn how to master the art and science of fundraising, and I've got a great tip for you in just a moment. But before we get to that, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that the next time we post a really great tip like this one, you're among the first to know. Okay, on to this week's tip.
It's really common in the nonprofit world, especially when you are just learning how to do fundraising, to think, oh, if somebody gives us a big donation, we should probably give them something back. Let's have a mug made with our logo on it. Let's get a leather bookmark. Let's get a branded bag or whatever. This is really common. And the reason that people think about that is called the Law of Reciprocity. A law of reciprocity, and it's an energetic law, and what it means is when somebody does something nice for us, we want to do something nice back for them, right? There's almost like that equal and opposite reaction. For every action there's an equal opposite reaction, but that's kind of where this is coming from. Another thing that happens for us sometimes, if you are not convinced of the value that your nonprofit brings, then you may have difficulty accepting large donations. So when somebody gives you, let's say $1,000, your first reaction, if you don't see the value your nonprofit gives, your first reaction might be, oh, we got to do something for them. They just made this donation, like we got to give them something back. All right, so if that's you, hang on, because you really don't. You don't have to reciprocate when somebody makes a donation. They're making a donation to support the good work your organization is doing. And if you think about it this way, it kind of helps take you out of the equation, because people are not giving to you, they're giving to your nonprofit to support the work that you're doing. And that's an important distinction. That's a piece of mindset that will really help you. It's not about you. It's not about your nonprofit. It's about what your nonprofit does. It's about what the money makes possible. Okay, follow me? So when you can get that clear in your mind, that will help prevent that knee-jerk reaction of, oh, we got to give them something back when they make a donation, because you really don't have to most of the time. And in fact, if your organization is new, if your organization is about basic human needs, animals, like grassroots kind of, we're making a difference in the world, we're saving lives kind of things, your donors don't want gifts back. So I'm going to get ahead of myself. There's actually two things you need to really be aware of when it comes to giving donors gifts. The first is that one, that a lot of donors do not want a gift. Early on in my career as a fundraiser, I had a company talk me into, this is never a good idea when a company talks you into something. They wanted to do mugs, like little ceramic mugs, right? And brand them with the organization's brand, but also print the donor's name on the one side. All right, so this was a problem for about 100 reasons. One is, if you misspell the donor's name, they're going to call and tell you, you misspelled my name, can I get a new mug? No. After we printed those, there was no way to get another one made. Some of them got broken in shipping. That was a problem. So it was very problematic. But what happened when we sent these mugs out to our donors, we got so many complaints. Oh, people were mad. And the truth is, those mugs cost us, I think, about $5 or $6 per donor. So it was not crazy expensive, although by the time you multiply that times, like 100 donors, 1,000 donors, that really starts to add up. But the problem was, people did not want their donation going toward a mug. They wanted their donation going to the mission that the organization was trying to fulfill in the community. So I learned really fast then that my donors didn't want that kind of thank you. Now, are there things that you can do to thank donors well? Yes, and there's a ton of articles on our blog. In fact, this week's article is about how to thank major donors. So when you do get those really big gifts of $500, $1,000, $5,000, $50,000, whatever's a big gift for you, you want to thank people in a way that's meaningful, but it does not have to mean spending money. All right, here's the other piece that I want you to know, and this comes if your organization is based here in the United States. The IRS has some regulations about giving donors gifts. I'm going to drop a link in the chat for you here because I found this. I thought this was super helpful. This is from Nolo. And this actually is from last year, but it's still going to be relevant. And there's a couple of things you have to think about. First is if you're going to give a gift back to a donor, you have to, let's see, this is for anybody who makes a single gift of $75 or more and receives something in return. You have to state the fair market value for anything that you send to the donor. So like public TV stations do this a lot where they say, oh, if you give $50, we're going to send you this mug. For $100, we'll send you these DVDs. That means you've got to tell the donor what the fair market value is because they have to subtract that from the donation to get the actual donation that they can count for tax purposes. So this is important. Now, the other thing is if you are sending something that's more of a token gift, you don't have to tell the donor what that is. So then you got to understand what does a token gift and the exact dollar amounts of what constitutes token or low cost changes year by year. If you're not in the US, you want to check and see what does your government say about this. And so on this page, this link that I just dropped in, it does talk about what that means. And what I want you to keep in mind is that if you're going to send the donor, let's say a bookmark that's branded and that costs you 50 cents, you're probably going to be okay and you don't have to worry too much about that, except for maybe the donor might say, why did you do that? Spend the money on the mission. When you start getting into other kinds of donations, you need to be really aware of what the rules are and how much you can spend on a gift back to a donor for a donation before it becomes a problem. And there are some amounts. So this link that I've shared, that'll give you some ideas, but also just go research it. Research it for the country that you're in, the year that you're working in, just to see what are the requirements and regulations. So my thinking is just don't give people stuff. People don't want stuff. What they want is something that warms their heart and makes them say, "Aw." And that can be as simple as a handwritten note card. That can be, I get these all the time. I get these great cards like this. It's from my friend Jessie over at Epic Outreach. So she's got this picture and she's written me a note. There's the whole note on the back. Isn't that awesome? Like that to me, what did she do? Just printed this picture out. So probably it cost her anything. But the fact that it's handwritten and she took the time to do that, that means a lot to me. Here's another one. Postcard. It's just handwritten. That kind of stuff. Here's another one. Thank you card with a little note, handwritten note in it. That's always going to score more points than anything that you can send me. Because I don't know about a lot of other people. There's a move toward minimalism and people just don't want more stuff. I don't need another branded ink pen. Every time I go to my bank, they're giving me one. I don't need more branded ink pens. I don't want knickknacks. I don't want anything I have to dust or take care of. I would rather have that kind of stuff that warms my heart. I would rather have a personalized thank you video where you're showing me what my donation just made possible. I would rather have a note from someone in your program that says thank you. And I think a lot of other donors are like me. So you might want to get to know your donors a little bit and find out what do they like, what warms their heart, what sets them on fire, and give them that kind of stuff. They probably don't want stuff. If you got a really cool t-shirt, they might like a t-shirt, but chances are really good they'll buy the t-shirt off your website rather than you giving it to them as a gift. So keep these things in mind before you start firing off gifts. Just remember that you have to see and understand and claim the value that your nonprofit provides. If you don't, you're going to find yourself in that knee-jerk reaction of like, oh, they gave me money, I got to give them something back. You really don't have to. Most donors don't want gifts. And you need to be aware of what the rules are in your country and for the year that you're in about what you can give the donor without causing a problem. All right, you can get more tips just like this on our website over at getfullyfunded.com/blog. And this week we have a whole bunch of things about how to thank major donors without breaking the bank. And hey, by the way, I understand that if you're in a major gifts campaign or capital campaign, there might be naming opportunities. There might be something else that goes along with it, and that's a whole other ballgame. We're really talking here about donors who are making gifts for your just annual operations. So you can head on over, get all the good stuff off the blog at getfullyfunded.com/blog. All right, have a really good rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.